In my last iconic video, I asked you guys to tell me some more great moments across VCT. You delivered, so here's 10 more iconic moments in Valorant history. This first moment was probably the most requested from last video, and for very good reason. Let's go back to Masters Copenhagen, where FPX would finally be able to attend an international event after the Russia-Ukraine stuff stopped them from going to Reykjavik. The war hadn't just disappeared though, issues still plagued the team going in, and the main setback was that zellsis couldn't get a visa in time to play. FPX would have to make it out of the group stage with a sub to make time for zellsis to get there. It was a very unlikely outcome, but with Xiao pulling off clutches like this, they managed to do it. And after a loss to fnatic put them into the lower bracket, zellsis rejoined the team. They went on one of the best runs in Valorant history. They beat Guild, DRX, fnatic and Optic to make it to the grand final. zellsis was playing out of his mind during this tournament, and he'd have to keep doing so if they wanted to win the trophy. They'd be up against paperX, a team on an incredible run themselves, so naturally it was a great series. The teams traded 2 maps each, bringing it to a final of Breeze. paperX pulled out one of the most unorthodox comps ever played in Valorant for this map, running a Neon, Breach and Yoru. Would FPX be ready for it? Rounds went back and forth until the score reached 12-9 in FPX's favour. One more round, one more insane play, and they'd be champions.
Dangerous but still forsaken, performing under the pressure. zellsis aims the reset! Absolutely ridiculous! And what a play!
FPX became unlikely Masters Copenhagen winners, and this 4K was cemented in the Valorant history books. I mentioned paperX's run at Copenhagen as well, and it contained another iconic moment in Valorant. Copenhagen was the first tournament with a global crowd, and so we could finally hear the hype inside the arena for incredible plays. Somebody was bound to get the first ace in front of a crowd, and who better than paperX's cracked duelist, Forsaken.
Round. Once again, yeah, it was actually Ye who was still on the site, but Forsaken cleans him up. Forsaken gets 3. These for the time being.
But they've got nothing.
One enemy remaining.
Forsaken's working his way towards the ace. He's gonna 1v5 this thing. What do you think? No, Forsaken gets the ace!
Our first ever global crowd ace!
The fact that this was the first ever ace in front of a crowd means it'll always be remembered, making it truly iconic. Another great VCT moment happened in the qualification for Copenhagen, this time in Europe. G2 versus Ascend, week 4 of the EMEA Challengers group stage. Nuki was known as one of the best Raze players in the EU, and on Bind, he showed everyone why.
Worked out in practice, and Zeke has found another Nukia. Is he the playmaker that gets G2 into this round again? Oh wow, just aerial movements! This guy's a gymnast, Nukia!
Not only does he perform this insane movement to dodge the ult though, he ends up getting the ace.
In towards heaven, those paint shells, and reloads, and still gets the kill! Nukia!
G2 didn't go on to qualify for Masters or even win this series, but Nuki is playing on Giants next year for franchising, so keep an eye out for his Raze in 2023. Optic will forever be known as the Reykjavik 2022 tournament winners, with one player as the clear MVP. Ye was at peak form during this tournament, and one clip on Icebox shows it to perfection. Optic versus the Guard, a highly anticipated NA versus NA matchup. The last time Optic played them, they got beaten 3-2 in a super close series, but now they were on LAN, and Optic's experience could shine. But that's not just why this moment is amazing, it also has some of the best casting in Valorant.
Yay! 始まったか。この武器は危険だ。ヘッドホット。イエーイ！イエーイ！イエーイ！取り入ってますよ。イエーイ！見てる？
Ye played incredibly well for the rest of the tournament, taking Optic to a world title, and this moment shows just how good he really was. A question that gets floated around in the Valorant community a lot is, what's the best map of all time? Most people would say FPX vs DRX Ascent at Champs 2022, and that probably is the right answer. A global crowd, an unbelievable clutch and a mouse kiss, it had everything it needed. But what if I told you there was one better? Mech vs Fnatic, Masters Reykjavik qualifiers. Whichever team wins goes to Iceland. Each team takes one map, bringing us to split. Fnatic go up 9-3 and look to be taking it easily, but we all know how defensive sided split is, and so Mech mounts a comeback, bringing it to overtime. This is where the real map starts. Round to Mech, round to Fnatic, over and over, until Mech reached a 16-15 lead. Defo and Bravath are in a 1v1 with the spike ticking down.
The clock down, Defo wants the swing, and surely that's it one on time now.
Oh, I don't think he's got it. It's going to be close. It must have been so ridiculous.
0.02 seconds stopped Mech from making it to Masters Reykjavik. The overtime would continue for 12 more rounds, eventually reaching 23-21 to Fnatic. This is one of the longest overtimes in VCT and was decided by only 0.02 seconds. Speaking of EU teams, Liquid haven't seen much success on the international stage recently, but in Champions 2021, they made it all the way to the semi-finals against Ascend. Ascend took bind, and Liquid wanted to bounce back on split. After going 3 rounds down though, it didn't look to be going their way. But the one-tap king wasn't going to go down easy.
They can't capitalize on that fault line, and it's a free one for Bone Cold again. He gets a second. Scream answering back, he's got to deliver something here. CNED is in position, it's all on Scream's shoulders. There is a whiff from CNED, opportunity for Scream if he can find him. There we go, Scream looking to make it happen. Oh my god, Scream gets himself an ace! If that doesn't bring Liquid back into this, I don't know what will.
They then proceeded to not win a single round for the rest of the half, but it was an incredible moment nonetheless. Speaking of Ascend, they've been on the receiving end of a few iconic moments in Valorant, and for the next one we have to go back a tournament to Masters Berlin. 100T versus Ascend, Masters Berlin quarterfinals. CNED was Ascend's star player, with mastery of the operator, and he was online. With 46 kills across the first 2 maps, Breeze, the final map of the series, would be his playground. They went up 12-7, with CNED looking dominant over 100T. If 100 Thieves lost one more round, they were going home. They had to come up with a strategy to counter CNED, and so they chose the most simple option. If CNED is the problem, just avoid him. For the next 7 rounds, as soon as 100T identified where CNED was, they would immediately rush to the other side of the map.
As they work their way up elbow, the swing, it'll put it in towards the likes of Keyless. He'll put it into the likes of Bone Cold, and they know it now. Keyless now knows what's coming his way. He's going to put up anything he can to try and make this trickier. But they close the gap. Asuna, great breakthrough kill, but good work again. Asuna is still doing it, but CNED, he's here. He's finally arrived, and he gets sent packing Nitro out of nowhere.
This strategy kept working, and with their huge momentum boost, they managed to take the map 14-12, putting this comeback into Valorant legend. In the first international Valorant event, Masters Reykjavik, there was a lot of interest to see how the different regions compared to each other, especially EMEA versus NA. The first Europe versus US matchup of the tournament was version 1 versus Liquid. The first 2 maps were close, and the tension was high on the final map of Haven. That tension would be broken.
Good here. Does he decide to go for this now? Delete the game. Delete the game. Delete the game. Production, turn it off.
Vanity suddenly realised he couldn't move backwards, and 180'd Soulcast in a classic moment of early Valorant. But if we're talking early Valorant, one team always comes to mind. Sentinels were the most dominant NA team in early 2021, and they wanted to go from the best team in NA to the best team in the world at Masters Reykjavik. And they did. Every region's best team fell at the feet of Sentinels with a 2-0 scoreline. Fnatic, Vikings, Newturn, and they were in the grand final, a rematch versus Fnatic. The first 2 maps were close, but they pulled through. They still hadn't lost a single map in the tournament so far. The final map of this tournament, Haven vs Fnatic, has 2 moments that Valorant fans across the world will recognise to this day. In round 6, Sentinels are in a 3v4 post plant, trying to keep Fnatic from tying the score 3-3.
Sentinels favor, and there goes the push into tenz. He's just going to hold the forward ground. He doesn't care, he's taking these fights by himself. Portrayed him down, and they're looking good to try to finish this one. Shazam has to go to the side, gets concussed, has to be great on his first push. Oh my god! How on earth has he done that? The Rebel clutch from Shazam is phenomenal.
This round was what kept Sentinels ahead, and at 12-11, there was a tragic moment for Fnatic which cost them the game.
They don't know.
Oh my god, he gets flashed! The team flash! The team flash! Magnum's in the smoke here, tenz. Oh my god! Magnum's got no HP, not like this!
Doma was flashed by his own teammate, giving Sentinels a free kill and the round win for the championship. Sentinels' run at Masters Reykjavik 2021 is the most iconic tournament run in Valorant history, and they did it without a coach. Some might argue that they didn't play the best strategic Valorant we've ever seen, but there's no denying that this run has shaped Valorant into what it is today. We've gone further and further back into Valorant history over this video, but to end it off, let's go to the most recent VCT match, the Grand Final of Champions 2022, Optic versus Loud. There's so many moments I could have picked that showed Loud's dominance over the tournament, but I've picked 3 that represent the Grand Final as a whole. On the first map, Crashies is in a 1v2 at 13-all. With the time ticking down, Loud have to find a way to get the spike planted.
And now he starts to build. He tries to get that pick towards the back of Bowhouse. 5 more seconds. They're running low on plant time. With 7 HP, he's charging down on the side. Oh, it's not enough. Sacy, what is Sacy made of?
Sacy somehow doesn't die here, clutches the round and gets Loud to a 1-map lead. On the next map, Bind, Aspas goes through the teleporter, but doesn't know Ye is waiting there for him.
Yeah, he's tucked up on this.
TP was
Oh my god!
How is he alive? Aspas flies out of there. Now it's just Aspas. Tell me how Optic are 3 alive with rifles now. And I'll tell you, none of us saw it at the start of this round. Aspas though, good for 1.
Oh my god.
Good for 2. And now just the 1v1. And the correct guess. Victor, none the wiser, forced to pull the trigger. Oh, Aspas! The unthinkable again. The 1v3 in the final seconds.
This was one of the most incredible clutches ever, and although they didn't win this map, Ye whiffing those shots was a symbol for how Optic were no longer the stable #1 team, as Ye so often was. And on the final map, Haven, an ace from the new young superstar Les, showing just how well the young talent of Loud has developed under veteran leadership. Loud had overcome their rivals, along with the other top international teams, to take home the Champions Trophy. All of these moments are etched into Valorant history, and I'm sure Valorant franchising will produce even more. Please do subscribe if you like this video, it really helps me out. I've been Commend, hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.